Coach Shane Hawkins, 24 basketball season is here. It's hard to believe. Thanksgiving basketball.
Kind of go hand in hand.
It's kind of how it goes, you know.
It does. And it's been a long time since end of February, beginning of March, and for me, you wait all spring and all summer and all fall to get to this point, and man, when it gets here, it just goes by so fast.
It does go by so fast.
It's just such a fast season, and we're preparing for Thanksgiving tournaments, and some have already kicked off, and in about 3 weeks we're going to get ready for holiday tournaments. And then you go a couple of weeks and it's midwinter tournament, and a couple of weeks later you start preparing for postseason. I mean, it's a long season on the day-to-day grind of it. But man, it just the weeks go by fast.
I think we need to go back and look at the season we had last year. 20 wins. You win the conference. Just had a really good year for Lions basketball.
Yeah, we kind of got hot at the right time. Last year was a group. It just took a while for that group to kind of come together and get to where we wanted to be. And I think a lot of times that happens when you have a group that's ahead of them that was really good. And so it kind of, when you have a group ahead of another group, a lot of times it kind of stymies their growth and development. So those guys, 2 years ago, we played almost all seniors. So, last year's guys, Skelcher and Waller and Wakey, they were predominantly JV guys as juniors. So it takes a while to get that varsity experience. The varsity game's different. We talk about it all the time. We talk about the 6 o'clock game and the 8 o'clock game, and they're two different games.
Yeah.
The speed, the strength, the execution, just the athleticism, and sometimes it takes teams a little bit to get adjusted to it. And we had a couple of really good wins early. Kind of struggled there in the middle, which you expect with kind of inexperienced teams. And we were kind of inconsistent from basically the holiday tournament to the midwinter tournament, and then it clicked, and then we won 9 straight towards the end, and they played really well against Benton for a long time in the regional championship game, and get beat by the team who eventually gets second in the state.
Yeah, I think one of the key factors down that stretch run was the play of, you had your seniors that they did senior things, right, but it was the play of Alex Kimbrough and Caden Wilson, and it was their role, if they didn't get the start, coming off the bench, right, and just kind of being some shutdown defenders, yeah, that you needed at critical times in the game, and that was huge for this team last year. And you got them back this year.
Yes, and they were able to come off the bench and kind of change the game because they were different. They were different than Skelcher and Waller. Brandon and Josh were guys who could go get baskets and guys who could get on a roll and go hit 3 or 4 threes really fast. But they weren't as athletic as Kimbrough and Caden Wilson. So it's kind of that trade-off. What did we need at this particular time? Do we need a basket or do we need a stop? And those 4 guys, I think, at least from our standpoint, handled it perfectly. You had 2 seniors who, were giving up minutes to some juniors, and I think they understood their roles. And then that's how you go win 9 games in a row down the stretch. And it's not easy to win in January and February as it is, and then to go win 9 games, and we didn't have any cakewalks. It was you're winning. You're beating Massac. You're beating Murfreesboro twice.
Heron.
You're beating beat Heron. We got lost to Heron late.
Yeah.
So you're playing good teams, and that doesn't happen. You don't win those games if you got guys pouting about playing time and production, and we didn't have that last year, and that's why it was able to kind of click and go rattle off 9 in a row late.
it's nice seeing you got a couple of guys back this year. In Parker Poole, Logan Engel,
Yes.
back with the squad this year, and seniors and guys that you can kind of count on.
Yeah, it just adds to, and so we have a lot, but we also, everything's different. So you bring in Parker and Logan, who didn't play last year. So they've set out, in essence, a year and a half away from basketball. And then you have Caden Wilson and Alex Kimbrough, who will have completely different roles. They got to still do what they did last year, but now they have to expand, and they will have a bigger role offensively. So it's again, putting the pieces to the puzzle. It may take some time, just as it took time last year. But for us, we want to continue to get better throughout the season and be playing our best basketball late in January, February, and that's what we did last year. And that's our goal every year is, yes, it would be nice to win a Thanksgiving tournament or a Christmas tournament, but that's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to kind of figure things out. We're going to play to win. We're going to prepare to win. But your first 10 or 12 or 15 games are going to be learning what combination of guys play well with each other. What kind of positions do we need to put people in for them to be successful, in turn to make us be successful? And that takes time. It takes time. You watch college games right now. Every team in the country is trying to figure things out with the group of collection of guys that they have. And sometimes you get it figured out by game 5. Sometimes it's game 20, and sometimes we never get it figured out.
The one guy we haven't talked about, there's two we actually haven't really talked about. Of course, you got Colton. You can chat at him anytime you want. But then you're also missing your point guard in Drew Barrington. Now, of course, he's been dealing with the knee injury, and he's recuperating. I wish I could recuperate like that again.
Yes.
But you're going to get him back in a handful of weeks, and that adds a whole nother dynamic to this team.
Again, you have two guys who both were all conference. Drew was all South. So you have two guys who have had success. You have two coaches' kids who should understand their role and everybody else's role. So that's a pretty good place to start. When we get Drew back, or how much we get Drew back, or how effective he will be early, only time's going to tell. I would expect to be getting back at some point in December. Again, and it's going to be kind of what we already talked about. It's going to be tweaking. When can he play? What's the best? Not maybe the best games for him to play, but if we play back to back, he may have to limit his minutes on Friday night to be able to play some on Saturday night. Or it may be, hey, we're going to sell out on Friday night and we're going to set him on Saturday night. It may be a time, if we get him back, that it may be in 2-minute spurts. Right? Play 2, set 2 or 3 or 4, get 2 more. And that will all be determined probably as we go. Obviously, doctors they'll let us know kind of what they think he can do. But a lot of it's going to be just kind of watching him and figuring out how he can go and how much he can go and how much he can do, and understand it. He's not going to be like he was last February. He's not going to get to that point right away. Our hope is that he can get there, with playing as the season goes. But I think we have to kind of just watch him, and his body will tell him what he can do and what he can't do, and how much.
Kick things off, the Trico Tournament, and then you mentioned 3 weeks we get into the Christmas tournament, the El Dorado Holiday Tournament, and then of course we got the Superman we're going to
BIT
or
Benton.
BIT.
Yeah,
That's
we're
right. Yeah.
Benton now.
So I mean, the schedule you got. It's going to be a tough schedule, just like it always is every year. It doesn't really get easy, does it?
It's not, and that's for a reason. I think we got tested early last year. I think we learned some things about us as a team, and I think that helped us later. I mean, we may get a you may get a blowout win, but it's not on the schedule. You may get one where you play really well and go win one, and things click on that night and you beat somebody way worse than maybe what you thought. But you look at our non-conference schedule, and that's who we're playing. All right, we're going to play Vienna early. We're going to play Goreville early, two of the better teams in our area. We're going to play at Nashville in December before Christmas. You come back and we have Pinckneyville. We have Meridian. We could see Meridian twice. They went to the state tournament last year. I mean, that's...
And maybe better this year.
Yeah, and could be. But that's how... I've never understood the people who schedule it and just schedule wins and beat people by 50 and 60 and 70, but they don't help you. You don't learn anything from your team. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you can steal it from them and dribble down and shoot layups, you might as well go play the third grade team. Mm-hmm. It doesn't help your development. It doesn't help you get better for tough games. I mean, we're trying to prepare ourselves so that we've seen everything that we can possibly see by the time we get into maybe a conference championship night or a regional championship or a sectional game. And that's we're always going to, as long as I'm here, that's the way we're going to schedule. And if you're good enough, you're going to win. And if you're not good enough, you better find a way to get better to be able to go win games.
So we open it up at the Trico Tournament. It's going to be Saturday night. Waterloo Gibault is game one on Saturday, and then we'll come back and play Wednesday, Friday, Saturday of next week. Steelville, Redbud, Trico. Right. I like that tournament. I like the venue. I like the tournament. I think it's a good way to start the season.
It gets us west. Mm-hmm. It gets us.
We play everything the other side.
We see different teams.
Yeah.
And one of these years they're going to flip the regional stuff, and we may play teams that way. But at least we've seen a couple. All right, we've traveled that way. Most of our conference is East, holiday tournaments East, midwinter tournaments East. So we get a chance to go see somebody different. I don't want to play the same teams 5 times. Now you get a conference team and you get them in a tournament semifinals. Okay, that's different. You get them in a regional, that's different.
Yeah.
But just to schedule, and see the same teams 4 and 5 times is not productive. I think you get some bad things come out of that when you play the same team over and over and over. So I do like the format. I do like starting on Saturday.
Better than playing 4 in a row.
Yeah, that first week's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. And let's be honest, there's a lot of bad basketball this week. Not because it's bad teams, because it's the first game, and now some of those guys are playing 3 and 4 and 5 games this week with a 0 chance to practice in between. We're going to start it on Saturday. We can come back and have Monday and Tuesday practices. You're not just in preparation mode all the way through. You can use Monday and Tuesday to practice, play Wednesday. Now your Thursday is pretty much a prep day for Friday, Saturday, but. I think having those couple practices in between games, I think that helps. Or at least I hope it will.
We'll see. Starts on Saturday night. And I like this. We need to do this frequently. See if we can do it maybe once a week or so. Just kind of talk about what's up.
Yeah, we can do it.
So, Coach Shane Hawkins, and basketball season starts Saturday night at the Trico Tournament.